Yeah. I sent you a screenshot over the weekend when I saw when I saw Ten Hag play a 4-2-4-0 with 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 no striker tactically. I mean, Marcus Rashford was on the pitch, but he wasn't playing him as an out and out striker. He was partnering him with Bruno, like two false nines. I don't know what they were doing there. And I was wondering why. Why?
Mm.
Who in this? It's so strange a formation. When I saw it, I just decided to take a screenshot and send it to you.
Yeah,
What's
the
your
funny thing,
thoughts?
I was about to do same. I was about to take a screenshot and send it to you and ask like what was going on, and then I saw you had sent it to me. But I didn't watch the game. Obviously, they won with two penalties, and when I did watch the highlights, it does look like Everton was just dreadful. Um, which I think like typifies Man United's situation, right? Like teams come, don't finish off their chances. Man
Yeah,
United are able to somehow finish their chances or find chances from deep. But like I think it underscores the frustration with Ten Hag. He's getting results to a certain degree, but it's not pretty, and
yeah,
it
it's
doesn't feel like he has a handle on things at certain points in time. But I still think that look, they need to settle on him because he's a manager who's proven that he could play very, very good stylistical football and
yeah.
gets like a structure behind him. And I think when they do, he's going to function very, very well. But they'll need to
Yeah.
go through these periods.
I mean, if you look at that game, to be very honest, there is this graph that the EPL published in terms of moments in the game, and literally in the second half, United just have one moment in the game. It was dominated mainly by Everton. In the
I mean, he
first
set
half,
up a new striker, so what would you
yeah,
expect?
it was dominated by Everton. What do you call it, Everton? And I'm like, how do you set up? And I
Yeah,
think it was how do you set up?
it was sitting on sofa score as 4-2-4-0 or something.
Yeah, 4-2-4-0. How do you set
Mm.
up at home against Everton and you're playing a 4-2-4-0? Who are you scared of? Yeah, like it's. I'm wondering who are you scared of as United to force you enough to compel you to play a 4-2-4-0?
Mm.
But eventually they got two penalties, which I think it's mainly like Garnacho playing very well, trying to cause
Yeah,
troubles. It's probably even more down to poor defending by Everton and the
yeah.
kind of
Everton,
defending decisions they were making. Yeah,
the kind
rather
of
than saying that it was really, really good play, right?
yeah, the kind of defensive decisions and like the attacking play, final balls in there.
Yeah,
I think it was just one of those games. I think United is quite lucky to still be in the running for top four as of now. But looking at the way Spurs is on the ramp up, it will take like a lot for them to get there.
yeah.
Plus they have a couple of tough fixtures still coming up. Um, so it will be good to see how it goes for them. I just hope they drop. For me, I just hope they drop.
Yeah. I mean, talking about United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who was probably the previous substantive coach before we had Michael Carrick, then Ralph Ragnick, and then Ten Hag. He had an interview, and I think Stick to Football. They had this podcast session where he was speaking a lot about his time at United. And there are two things that stand out, which I just wanted to pick your thoughts on. The first one was on Cristiano Ronaldo's signing, where he said at the time felt like it was a good decision. And then eventually, when Ronaldo came, I mean, in hindsight, it didn't work out for him. Ole it didn't work out for Ronaldo as well. But he, when he was asked, said yes, he would like to get Ronaldo in. And the question here is that he was making an assessment saying that season, the season before, they had finished second behind City. And in his mind, that was the season they were setting up to come and play much more expansive, controlling football. Because the season before, they were playing this Dan James, Rashford, Martial counter attack, PPP go, PPP go. So they were doing this plenty running on the football pitch, but not controlling games. And now he said he was setting up to come and expand and then compete for the title with City. That summer, they signed Varane and then they signed Jadon Sancho, and then eventually Cristiano Ronaldo came. According to Ole, United started the season off very strong, and they were one of the best pressing teams until they signed Ronaldo, which shifted which shifted their style of play and shifted their off the ball pressing. Right. I don't want to pass my comment yet, but first of all, what's your take on this? Because genuinely, I don't think there's a fair assessment of Ronaldo's performance in United when he came in and how Ole coached the team at that point in time.
No, like I think some of these guys, after they're done with the job and they go and stay home, they see things a bit differently, or maybe their recollection of things is it's just things in their own head. But there's always like what you intend to do and then how it appears. Like even here
Yeah,
on this podcast, sometimes what we intend to do, what we intend to say,
yeah, it's
how it
different.
appears, and we need to be
Yeah,
able to merge two sides together. But these teams tend to fall into this trap a lot. Like a typical example is West Ham. Um, very Moyes Moyes is a very good defensive coach, good
yeah,
on a counter attack, and every season they play defensive and counter attack, and then
yeah,
gets very close to top four, then top six, gets into Europe. Then the next season they go and buy a set of players. So you remember him buying Gianluigi Scamacca,
yeah,
Paqueta, like a couple
yeah,
of players
yeah.
like for now
Could
people players who come through the door to try and play expansive, beautiful football. Then they fail. Then mid-season, he will start with his
revert back to his normal boom
playing like
boom cha.
defensive mids and like just one up top with maybe Antonio,
Yeah,
one like that. So it takes a lot to transform your style of football. And for me, I
yeah,
think if something is not broken, don't try to fix it. And if you want to fix it, it's not just about adding one or two players. It's also about changing the philosophy. It's also about changing your training methods. And
yeah,
in periods of transition, you can't still be performing at a very optimal level. So for me, I think it will take more than just bringing in Ronaldo to get to start playing that kind of football. But yeah, I think like he perhaps maybe saw something different that we don't see as fans. But I
yeah,
just think Man United was even till now they are still a better counter attacking team than the
yeah,
team that want to like play because even I mean Ten Hag just owned it and said they want to be a counter pressing team and build from the back stuff like that. But it's still quite clear that they
yeah.
are
The heavily
better.
transitional team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I had two comments about that. First of
Mhm.
all, see, for Ole to tell me that from one season and after one summer and one preseason, he all of a sudden realized that they wanted to stop being a counter-attacking team and start playing expansive football, tells me with or without Ronaldo, they would have failed that season. Because you don't change a team and their style of play and philosophy by bringing in Varane and Sancho. Let's pick Sancho. Sancho was terrible throughout that season.
Yeah.
Sancho that he brought in to come and play that expansive football that he was talking about was terrible throughout the entire season. Varane was injury prone, sitting out majority of the season. And so where the same players that he used to play the counter attacking had all of a sudden transitioned into Man City robots who were coming to play controlling games, tiki taka. What exactly was he thinking? Because you don't, and that questions a lot more about his understanding of the team and his
Mm.
understanding of what it would have taken to transition the team into that kind of play that he wanted to make. Because player instructions and muscle memory and building patterns and positional play and getting comfortable with tweaking certain things doesn't come with one preseason and doesn't come with one season. So unless he was ready to say they had agreed on board level to sacrifice that season to build up and experiment and tweak things and get things right, then he shouldn't be saying that it was Ronaldo coming in that messed up their plan for playing expansive
I mean,
football.
like think about blaming it all on Ronaldo. Like I don't know when Ronaldo came in,
Yeah.
you saw things where Ronaldo was apparently the one coaching the team, and Ole was like,
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of things which I'll come to in a bit, but you look at that, and I'm like, Ronaldo was the team's top scorer.
Yeah.
Ronaldo was the team's best player that season. Ronaldo was up top scorer in the league against informed Son and I think Salah by 4 goals. A player who was 34 or 35 at the time that he arrived at United. Your main strikers, Martial was shit. Cavani was injured throughout that season, injury prone and making noise all over the place. So I sit down and I think about it and I'm like, is it difficult for players and coaches to just say, look, I messed up, I didn't assess the situation well, rather than try pinging on Cristiano Ronaldo, who, of course, the way he left United wasn't great, but that particular season in question, he wasn't the problem at United, and it was clear, right? And it tells me Ole was the biggest problem in that dressing room. If he himself
Not like a
thinks
man.
that,
Why are you
who
so
I said,
you? You sound
I
like
feel like, not because
you
I'm a
sound,
Ronaldo fanatic, because I'm a
oh,
Ronaldo fan. Yeah,
oh,
I like Ronaldo a lot, and so
you said
I dislike it when people try to just play this random blame game about Ronaldo was the one who messed up United season. Like for Ole to tell me that he was expecting to all of a sudden start playing expansive football that season, just proves to me that they would have failed no matter what. They would,
mm,
they would have failed and they would have dropped out
the
of top
funniest
four.
thing for me because it was so humiliating also because he was going to City, right? Ronaldo was going to City
Yeah,
because
yeah.
yeah. Then they were like,
Exactly.
we got the deal.
Yeah, it's such an
City,
emotional club.
City was like, just have it though.
Take him, Charlie. And you look at the second thing that he was talking about was more about recruitment in the club, where he mentioned that he recommended Erling Haaland on multiple occasions. The club turned him down. He recommended Jude Bellingham. I think there were some other players that he claimed to have recommended in the past, and then they never got into the club. And I'm wondering if you are a manager, because he said he recommended him again after he was made interim manager and after he was made manager actually. And then Haaland was at Salzburg. He hadn't played any games yet. I think he went about 20 games without playing before he started playing and scoring goals. And he had a 20 million release clause and they never triggered it. And if you're a manager and you clearly have this much faith and you couldn't pull it through, then what was going on in that dressing room, right? Because if you couldn't find the reasons to say, look, this is the person we need, this is the person we want. And sure, maybe Haaland wouldn't have come because of Alfie's links to City and all that. But at least United should have put in a try, right? And if you're a manager and you couldn't pull that, then I was wondering, what was he doing in the dressing room? Because if you are recommending players and you have a strong assessment of them, and scouts are not even getting to do scout reports on that player to put them up the list or something, then what's really wrong within that dressing room as well? I don't know whether it's a much bigger reflection of the cracks in United's recruitment structure since Alex Ferguson left and the whole structure crumbling down as well.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought with this is um I think it's very, very easy when you see players thriving elsewhere to say that, oh well, I wanted to sign them, but
Yeah,
what was the reason? Because it could be that they are signed and they just don't do well, and
yeah,
everyone just forgets about it. You're like, whew, I'm glad we didn't bring him in. So I think
ma-
players will go where they need to go. Yeah, players will go where they need to go, and if
yeah,
they do well, fine. If they don't do well, that's fine. Like you just have no business with it. But of course, there are some generational talents that you wish they were in your team, and you wish that you had a chance to be able to like work with them and get them to play for you. The second thing is that there are some players who getting them it's not like so some of these brightest young players getting them is hard, not in the
yeah. Very,
sense that they are very expensive, but
their
clubs
demands.
yeah, clubs need to be skillful at being able to negotiate these deals. And there are
Yeah,
clubs which are set up to negotiate complex deals. Like Real Madrid is a club that is set up to negotiate complex deals. They
yeah,
know
very,
how to do it.
yeah,
So you will not see them go for it. Like Chelsea doesn't know how to negotiate. Our most complex deal was Havertz when everyone was chasing him, and our strategy is always go and get him before the others come in. There are
yeah,
some teams once they get into a bidding war. they
They
are
will.
already. And
Yeah.
Man United is one of them. If there's a hot kid on the block and Man United wants
They will
them,
always lose.
it's complicated, and it seems that their hierarchy, especially around that time, has like just like a bad track record of
Yeah.
doing that. It's not quite easy to just suggest. It's very easy to suggest players and then walk away from it, but there are a lot of extenuating circumstances. Like Bellingham,
Yeah.
once he's been hot, you see, once some players are hot, they associate them with some clubs like Real Madrid, Liverpool.
Even Bellingham. Bellingham in Ole's interview, Bellingham, he said Bellingham came to the what do you call it? The Theatre of Dreams, came to the stadium,
Yeah,
came to Old Trafford, saw Alex Ferguson, Michael Owen, saw a lot of huge players
yeah,
around, and just made specific demands and said, look, if I'm signing for you, I need certain minutes in my first season assured. And that's what the club wouldn't give him. And then he
yeah,
went to Dortmund. And from
yeah,
Dortmund, he's gone to Real Madrid. And I have a feeling that sometimes we think that maybe if these players stayed in United, they would have turned out to be the players that they are.
yeah.
Actually, they would have turned out shit. Like, which bright talent haven't we seen at United recently, and how have they turned out? Very, very poorly. Marcus
Yeah.
Rashford, when he burst onto the scene, and Anthony Martial were hot cakes. These guys started running around, scoring goals in derby matches, scoring against very, very big teams on their debuts and all that. And all of a sudden, bad structure, bad coaching, poor performance. It has eaten their careers away. Today, Marshall is deadwood without any reasonable impact on football, even though when he burst on the scene, he was one of the brightest in his position and
Ballon
his
d'Or,
talent.
there's a Ballon d'Or clause in his contract
Yes,
where
Christ, goodness me. Look at this. Look at this.
there's a Ballon
Look
d'Or
at this.
clause in his
I'm
contract.
saying that.
That if he
Only
wins the
shouldn't like Yeah, only shouldn't make it seem like if Haaland was to come to United and he would still be scoring 50 goals a season. Maybe he
yeah,
wouldn't,
he
right?
wouldn't. He
Yeah.
wouldn't. Anyway.